Begin with, we have this concept of the people from other planets as little green men. Are they green from what you know? Are they all the same?
Unfortunately, they're not so benevolent.
A fucking alien.
What's good? Welcome Area 51 here with your host Jimmy. Another day in the jungle. Give us a like, subscribe, and also become part of our community here and go there at boxing.com for more news and stories. Also, give us a like and leave a comment below if you're digging this video and you want to, talk about it a little bit more. All right, so let's get to it. Eddie Reynoso and Canelo Alvarez, once again, words of controversy. Eddie Reynoso said that, and he said it in Spanish, that black fighters, the only thing they do is run and use the jab. And he was saying this to Eric Morales, who was talking about the fight between Shakur Stevenson and also, Oscar Valdez. And this is very strange because Eddie Reynoso's had a fascination with black fighters. In one of the interviews he had said last year, it was like a year ago, where he said that the African American boxers were the most difficult to fight. Okay, and historically, African American boxers, I just call them black Americans because they're not really African, but anyway, forgive me for that. But black American boxers have always had a very good style to fight other styles. And it's interesting because to say that all black American fighters have that same style, it's even a huge stereotype because there was many fighters who didn't fight that style. Mike Tyson didn't fight like that. Ike Williams didn't fight like Bill Jack didn't fight like that. Sandy Sadler didn't fight like that. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on with the styles of boxers. Marvin Hagler didn't fight like that. I mean, Tommy Hearns didn't fight like that. But the excuse is, let's go ahead and stereotype the entire black American ethnic group and say, you know what, they just run, right? But the problem is that styles make fights. And in order to be the best, you gotta beat the best. And it doesn't really matter what sort of style you have. Because in the end of the day, boxing is the style of hitting and not getting hit. It's not a street fight. It's not a brawl. If you're brawling, if you're fighting people just to brawl them, then that's not boxing. Okay? And didn't Canelo Alvarez... See, this is why it's so hypocritical. What Reynoso said, didn't Canelo Alvarez actually use that same style, the Black American style, which I'll get that to in a minute, but that's not really Black American style. Didn't he use that style of using the jab and moving when he fought Gennady Golovkin the first time? Didn't he use that style? Then he got cheating, doing clenbuterol, and that you can masquerade other substances with it. And then he got, in less than 6 months, like super jacked, which is really weird. Doesn't happen really often. And then he went toe-to-toe with Gennady Golovkin because Gennady Golovkin was telling him, you're not going to go there and fight me, toe-to-toe. So he did, and he lost. And Gennady Golovkin lost that fight. But Canelo Alvarez was using that same style. Didn't he use a similar style when he fought Daniel Jacobs? Because with Daniel Jacobs, Canelo Alvarez wanted to showcase his defense like Willie Pep did against Jackie Graves back in the day. Didn't he use that same style? And nobody was there to criticize. I mean, if you're a real boxing fan, you know that is a more difficult style to learn because not getting hit is more important than getting hit. You see? That's the difference. But didn't he use that? And it's funny how that works because even Tyson Fury used that same style against Deontay Wilder the first fight. He was grabbing, holding, using the jab and getting away from Deontay Wilder because he knew that he got clipped. It would be the end. And he still got hit. But then he used the same style So is Tyson Fury also a runner? Is he also, a runner? And this is where I just don't understand the boxing fans today. You see all the boxing fans today, and I've said it before, but probably maybe I started doing more videos in English, but this whole concept of running was not really there before. There are some people who would say that, who just didn't like boxing, but the whole concept of running came from the Filipino fans, because during the Floyd Mayweather Jr. Manny Pacquiao saga, a lot of Filipinos wanted Floyd Mayweather Jr. to fight him. So, and I kind of blame Floyd for this as well, because Floyd took 8 years to make this fight happen. I think it could have been made before, and it would have settled the issue right away. Or they could have at least done 2 fights, one, in their prime. Like, for example, like Roy Jones Jr., when he fought Bernard Hopkins, they had one in their prime, and then they fought afterwards. They could have done that. But because Floyd didn't want to fight Manny, and it took so long, when Manny Pacquiao fought Floyd was a more skillful boxer, because his style of boxing it just ages better. It's just better if you have that style. And he completely beat Manny Pacquiao using the jab. And then all the Filipino fighters like, he's running, he's a chicken, he's running, come on and fight, right? And Manny Pacquiao was saying the same thing. Well, that's not what Floyd is going to do. He's just going to beat you in boxing. He's not going to beat you in a street fight. You're in the ring, you're not in the streets. You didn't sign up for a fight in the street. You signed up for a competition where you can beat anybody using the clinch, using the jab. It doesn't really matter. Back in history, battling Battalino, okay, he was renowned for using the clinch and moving fighters and then hitting them and just using the clinch over and over and over again. Okay, and was he a grabber, a dancer, or all this stupid shit that is just because you gotta beat that style. You gotta beat that style. At the end of the day, if you want to be the best, like Canelo says he's the best, they rank him number 35 in history, which is not. Canelo Alvarez is way below all the middleweights from the 60s going up, never mind from the 60s going down, which had amazing records. Okay? Way below. Shouldn't you be able to beat these fighters using your trainer's strategy, which took you where you're at right now? Shouldn't you be able to do that? In fact, didn't you change your style when you fight Floyd Mayweather Jr.? Because after that fight, it just seemed like you changed your style and you wanted to fight more like the American style. And this whole thing, it's the Black American style. That's never the Black American style. The Italian Americans and the Jews back in the day, they actually Brittany Winstein, Ray Arcel, those sort of trainers taught that sort of style. In fact, Benny Leonard was the one. I mean, Benny Leonard, nobody calls him a runner, but he was throwing a jab, and then he would just move and displace himself because his legs were so fast that you couldn't catch the guy. Okay? Nobody calls Benny Leonard a runner. So all this garbage came from the Filipinos. Nobody called Pernell Whitaker a runner. Nobody called Ruben Olivares a runner. And he fought Arhafi, which is a fight that I recommend everywhere to see while Mexicans used to fight before. The smart ones. He lost the first fight, but the second fight, he knew how to use the jab, and he still got caught, but he won the fight. That's what matters. Because he was a jabber. So was Pernell Whitaker. So many of the greats. Chavez Jr., I mean, not Chavez Jr., but Chavez Sr., when he fought Whitaker, he lost the fight. But in my opinion, that is a draw, but to me, he lost the fight. But either way, he took the challenge. I never faced a guy like this before. Let me go ahead and see where this can take me. And it's also very interesting how they market black fighters as running, because it's like you're trying to say that black people just run from fights, but once again, Gary Antoine Russell is not like that. Stefan Fulton is not like that, and he's beating everybody. And there's many of these fighters who are black who also like to fight back. So what's the generalization? It's just an excuse to not fight them. This is the truth. Let's just be honest with it. Latino fighters just don't got the numbers to beat black American fighters. They can beat the African fighters from Africa, but not the American ones. And a lot of Latinos don't know this, but you claim indigenous roots. Well, a lot of us have indigenous roots too with Native American. And a lot of these black fighters have that Native American gene on them too. But you don't want to mention that. Like when you say, oh, the spirit of Aztec warriors. Well, we got that too, bro. We got that too here. Blacks have that too. We got Native American ancestry too. But we don't want to talk about that. Why? Because would it be embarrassing if, natives also, we got the native blood and we run. So it's just so stupid to say things like that, and it's very ignorant at the very least. Canelo Alvarez could never beat a fighter like Demetrius Andrade, and he just exposed himself why he didn't want to fight him, because Demetrius Andrade would run circles on him and jab him and jab and jab and just mess him up. Just mess him. He knows that. Canelo Alvarez never had the legs. He never had the legs to fight like a Demetrius Andrade or like a Floyd Mayweather Jr. Okay, he doesn't have the legs. He's too stocky. He has thick legs. You need to have feather feet to move a certain way. He doesn't have that sort of composure in the ring, and because of his muscle mass, he's a big dude. He can crack, but he can't move. He can't change angles right away. He can't do things like that. And a lot of black fighters have been blessed with that. Feather feet fighter in general, if you know how to use your feather feet, you can do that. It's not just black exclusive to black, but you got to train it. You got to train that style. And black Americans have perfected that style for generations. This is not an easy thing. It's more difficult to learn how to defend yourself than it is to attack. And here's the irony of all this, because, I help kids train. There are a lot of Latino mothers and fathers too who ask me, I don't know if I should put my kid in boxing because I don't want him to have CTE. And I would like them to train, and they see the thing is they see Rocky Balboa, and they automatically think in their heads that that's what their kids are going to look like. And I can't blame them for that because, that's scary. I wouldn't want my kid to have CTE. I don't want that. So what sort of style of boxing am I going to teach these kids so they don't get hit, so they don't have CTE? I'm going to teach them the art of boxing in a way where they're going to be hitting people, but they're not going to get hit. And the more defense, the more clinching, the more the jab, that's what's going to make the difference. And it's sad because a lot of these Latino fighters would fight that way, and a lot of fathers would put more Latinos into the school of boxing if they knew that style, and they would be more competitive. But because a lot of parents don't want to risk the health of their children, they don't do it. I can't blame them for that. But Reynoso is just a very limited fighter. If he didn't have Canelo Alvarez, he really wouldn't have any other star. He fell with Oscar Valdez. Shakur Stevenson completely out-angled him, out-jabbed him, out-paced him, eliminated any single space from Oscar Valdez. Anything that he threw, completely wiped him out. And Eddie knows that, that style of fighting in the end of the day is something that he can't beat. So he's going to say something like Abel Sanchez in his fight. And by the way, just to let you know, that coming forward style of fighting, that's not Mexican style. That's stupid. That's a lie. In fact, that is a historical lie. That's the Canadian style of boxing. The Canadians had that before anybody else. In fact, they were the bringers of that style of pushing forward. When in an era where they used more the clinch, the Canadians were pushing forward and making it a brawl before Jack Dempsey and other fighters started to get inside and do their game. And Jack Dempsey was a notorious, and we'll talk about that in a second, but he was notorious for avoiding black fighters. But the excuse back then was, or the excuse for Gene Tony was that, oh, you know what, they're stronger, or we shouldn't fight them because they're genetically stronger. That's what they were saying. That's why they never fought. Sam Langford, Harry Wills, and other fighters as well are in that category. In fact, Jack Johnson avoided black fighters too. So nobody talks about that. But there was an excuse for that. For the Black Murderers Row, Eddie Booker, Jack Chase, Holman Williams, Lloyd Marshall, Aaron Wade, all these sort of fighters that were back in the Black Murderers Row, there was also an excuse to not fight them. There was always an excuse not to fight them. But if you look at Willie Pep had that style that a lot of, blacks have. And nobody says that Willie Pep was a runner. I don't see no Filipinos accusing Willie Pep of running, right? And he won a whole fight against Jackie Graves, and he won a whole round against Jackie Graves without throwing a punch. But then when he fought Sandy Sadler, who did have that aggressive style, like a Jimmy Bivens did, what happened? He lost 4 times. I think he only beat him 1 time, Willie Pep, out of the 5 fights they had. But he lost all the fights because styles make fights. But the result of that was that Willie Pep, when you look at his interviews, he was just brilliant. And Sandy Sadler, at the same age, he was having problems with speech because he was really damaged. So am I going to blame Willie Pep for using that style? Come on, man. I'm going to tell you something about these Latino fighters. You need to learn other styles to be the best. If you feel like black fighters have your name, and they do historically, they do have your number, what you need to do is you got to learn from them. See, if I was losing, if I'm Eddie Reynoso, and I see somebody who has a certain style using a certain jab, I got to use different styles. When I saw Sugar Ray Robinson fought against every single style. But he had an amazing jab. But you look at Gene Fulmer, he didn't put an excuse, I'm not fighting Sugar Ray because he has a jab. No, he found a way to beat Sugar Ray. Right? And he did. It was a very unorthodox way to beating Sugar Ray Robinson, but it worked to take that jab away from him. But Eddie Reynoso is just not smart. You see, he doesn't have the IQ of a real trainer to figure these things out. That's the real problem. Eddie Reynoso doesn't have the IQ to figure these things out. And I could go with the same parallel and say that many Latino trainers don't have the IQ to figure these things out. Right? And see, I can make a stereotype as well. They don't have the brain capacity to figure these things out. Right? I can say that too. It wouldn't be nice, right, if I said that, but it seems to be true. So what I would recommend young Latino children is learn from black fighters, black trainers. They're going to help you with that style. There's certain fighters certain trainers that still show those style of boxing. I know that style of boxing very well. I train it, and also at the same time, I like to show this to other fighters as well. And anytime I help somebody, they improve greatly in their style. But go with those trainers. Stop going with Latino trainers, because Latino trainers are very limited. If this is the mentality of some of the Latino trainers, and there's not a lot that are successful, to be honest with you, then you need to go a different way. Okay, you need to go a different. Robert Garcia is probably the most famous trainer, but you need to go a different way in your skill set. You can't be listening to this garbage. Boxing is about throwing hits and not getting hit. Okay, that's the key of boxing. Devin Haney, the reason why Gervonta Davis doesn't want to fight Devin Haney is because he fights like Canelo Alvarez. He has a little bit better legs, but he has heavy legs. Okay, and he knows that Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson, their style is going to be very problematic. So that's why he's not taking the challenge, right? It's not just Latinos who are having this issue. There's some fighters too who are not Latinos who don't want to fight that style either. Okay? Who don't want to fight that style either. So Eddie Reynoso, I don't think he is racist, but at the same time, I just think that he is frustrated deep down inside because he can't beat that style, or he doesn't have the IQ necessary to beat that style. And the excuse when you don't have the IQ is, well, you know, they fight a certain way. That's the excuse in the end of the day. The Phoenix Suns, you know, we have Devin Booker, and he's doing a great job. You know, he goes inside, you know, he's basically the engine right now, the Phoenix Suns. He goes inside, you know, dunks, you know, he gets close, two-pointers, you know, he gets into the paint area, always two-pointers. But if you look at other teams, you know, like the Golden State Warriors, they're just more experts at throwing, you know, triples, right? Does that mean that, you know, imagine if the Phoenix Suns were like, come on, you know, Golden State, come on, man, get inside, come on, get inside the court, come on. No, they don't have to do that. They just have to throw triples all day, you know, and they'll slice you that way. They don't have to go inside. It's a war. It's the smartest who wins. It's just stupid. That's in every sport. It's just so stupid. But anyway, I mean, those are my 3 cents, man. But I just think that that's what needs to happen. I think more Latinos have to actually train with black trainers. And I think it's going to really, really help. And they would actually have a lot more fighters if they did that, because a lot more parents would end up signing up their children to learning that style, so they don't become energy deficient. You see what I'm saying? And I feel bad for those fighters, because in the end of their careers, a lot of them, the ones that I met who had that sort of come on and fight me, end up, you know, saying to their, you know, saying like, hey, you know what? I wish I would have learned a different style so I didn't have these issues, because that's forever. Once you get that, that's forever. You're not going to change. And all these fans saying that you should go there and fight and break your fucking head in the ring and bleed and all that shit, they ain't going to be there for you either. When you're done, they won't be cheering for you. You don't even know who you are. Even if you lose, they don't even know who you are. Just look at Brandon Rios. That style didn't go him anywhere. Didn't take him anywhere. So I could speak more about this, but that's my 3 cents. Everyone knows. So he's just a duck. And actually, there's nothing worse in the end of the day than to avoid fighters. Okay, at least fight him. At least fight Andre and Charlo. Even though Charlo, as we know, you know, he's also ducking as well. But at least fight Andre to show that you have balls to fight him. At least do that. You know, at least do that. Because even George Kambosos Jr. is an Australian, had the balls to fight Devin Haney. And you don't even have the balls to fight Andre. Get the fuck out of here. You even ducked him for an undisputed championship. You suck. Anyway, that's my 3 cents here. You know, give us a like, subscribe, and also become part of our community here, goldenboxing.com, for news and stories. I like they say in New Mexico. Peace out, and deuces cruces to the next one. Peace out.